right, everybody. 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins here on our Wednesday afternoon, and we have to talk tropics. We've got a lot going on out there. Well, we've got two waves that we're watching. One we're not really concerned with. The second one, which is called Invest97L, that is the one that you can see here out in the kind of central Atlantic. I mean, it's way out there. It's early in the year for us to be watching for these waves. However, look at those numbers. 70 to 90% chance that we get at least a depression out of this. And in fact, I would not be surprised if we get Tropical Depression 5 out of this storm by 5 o'clock today. It's not going to affect anybody today. It's way out there. However, we're probably going to start getting something out of this here because it is starting to look a little bit more in tune. So let's talk about it, shall we? I don't want everybody to get too worried about it yet, but the models are bringing it in our direction, so we're going to keep a close eye on it. Right now, winds are estimated at 35 miles per hour, moving to the west-northwest at 21 miles per hour. It's just a wave, right? No depression, no storm, no hurricane, nothing like that at this particular point. But it certainly looks pretty decent. We've got some pretty good rotation there now. You can see quite a bit of convection that's around the center here, and it's kind of been hovering near the center as well as it's been moving towards the west. So when you're looking at least tropical depression status, you need a closed low, right? Lower pressures in here, higher out here, of course. And you also need what you see here. You need all of this cloud cover. That is one of the things that you need, that cloud cover, I should say, over the center. So it's called a central dense overcast. I think we got that. I think we have all of that right now. And that's why I'm saying that I think that this is probably going to be a depression here pretty soon. So this is high-res visible satellites every minute. And this is a small sector. That's why you can see it's cut over here on the left. You see this area here was cut off. What they can do with the GOES 16 satellite is they can actually look at two different areas and high-res on it. In fact, let me zoom out here and show you. That's it. That's all we get for this thing. And they'll shift this to the west. But this lets us get right down in there and see the convection. Remember, this is out in the central Atlantic, so sun's setting out there. That's why visible satellites get a little bit darker there. But yeah, definitely starting to move around there. And what I've done here is I've actually added the winds to it as well. And so now, remember, this is from the GFS. It's a model. It's actually the initial winds. But it's still an estimate because we're not exactly sure where the center is out there. It's got it here. I think it might be up here just a little bit. But what I'm looking for is, of course, all this wind to be wrapping around in this direction. How much wraps around on the backside? And with southwesterly winds here, northeast here, and it looks like something around the center. I mean, yeah, we're pretty close to having everything we need to make this a tropical depression. Again, this thing is way, in fact, let's zoom out. This thing is way out here. Right now, it is from Barbados, it's about 1,000 miles. From Miami, it's 2,600 miles, right? So it's way out there. But here are the forecast models. It's been called Invest97L for a while. We've been keeping an eye on it. They've been running models on it. But this is Friday morning around 11, so about midday on Friday. Most of the global models have it working its way towards the Caribbean islands at that point. So obviously Windward Islands want to keep an eye on it for, you know, if you got preps, you got family or friends out there, they need to be prepped by tomorrow night for a little bit of weather coming through on Friday. This is Saturday at 5 o'clock, and I really wanted to kind of emphasize this. This is 4th of July weekend. So people aren't paying attention to the news. They're not paying attention much to weather, that kind of thing, unless it's local weather, right? But Saturday afternoon on 4th of July weekend, we've got this system approaching Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, and Haiti, and perhaps even Jamaica at that time. And then by Sunday afternoon, it's approaching Cuba. In fact, it's moving across Cuba. That means that by Monday afternoon, this thing's in the Gulf of Mexico potentially. Right? Monday is basically everybody's off day because of the holiday. So Monday, we're certainly going to be watching this. And then as you can see, as we get into Tuesday, yeah, look at that. It brings it right up the west coast of Florida. Now look, this is 7 days out, 6 to 7 days out. That's a long time. And I kind of always think, well, look, if it's over top of us a week out, the odds of the model being exactly right a week out are kind of slim. So that's good news, right? If you live in the Tampa area in Southwest Florida and you see that, you're thinking, oh man, but certainly this is so far out in time, we gotta keep a close eye on it. But Here are the forecast models for 95L. That's the front running wave. They've got that down to 0% chance for development, so that's not any concern for us. That'll just add a little bit extra moisture. All right, this is the GFS model. There it is. You can see the low where it's got it right in here. Oh, excuse me, wrong button. Right in there, okay? There's Barbados. There's the center of the low, southern windwards by 2 o'clock Friday afternoon. See the clock up here? Keep your eye on the clock here and where this is. Now let's go for it. This is, stop it at, well, what is this? Monday at 11 a.m. Here we go. There's Jamaica. Right over top the Caymans. Now, this ridge is sitting out here. What does this look like? The GFS model thinks it's going to weaken it and be able to bring it up here. The European kind of stakes it out this way a little bit more because it thinks that this ridge is just a little bit stronger. There's the GFS right there. That's Monday morning, 11 o'clock. That's Tuesday night right there over top of Tampa. It's kind of a Charlie track, kind of. We call it Charlie. There's nothing there. But certainly something to be watched. That's why we're going to be keeping an eye on it. All right, now let's go to the European model. All right, here it is. Obviously, you can see I've got it circled for you here. Now, the latest run of the European just came out this afternoon, and it's picking up a little bit more on it. It wasn't as robust thinking about this storm, especially initially. But here, it doesn't have much. This is Friday afternoon in the windwards, not a lot there. Then we get out to Saturday afternoon, somewhere in Hispaniola and here. Now, it's got the ridge going all the way out here. It does have some moisture coming up, but the ridge extends further to the west here. And the reason why I point that out is because that would help push this further off to the west. But it's so weak that where do you go? I mean, it looks to me like a piece comes up and comes up to the Bahamas or maybe even east of the Bahamas, and then some moisture ends up in this direction. But that's Sunday morning at 9:30. And there's nothing left. There's nothing here. So the European tries to pick it up a little bit into here, bring it in the Caribbean, but then there's going to be some shear, a little bit of shear in this area, and it will interact with these islands. So the European model just at this point says, nah, I just don't think it does too much. Now, what I'm showing you here is a comparison of the two. So the yellow lines are the European, and you can see it's getting a little bit of a low here. The white lines, they're the GFS. Yeah, look at both of them. I should have backed it up a little bit, but both of them have a little something right in here. Get to the windwards, and the European, I think it's got a little something in there, but those white lines, mainly it's the GFS thinking like, yeah, this thing's going to go a little bit. And then as we get into Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, I mean, the European just doesn't have anything. This is just the GFS. It's a weaker system as it's interacting with Hispaniola and with the western tip of Cuba and shear. Usually these things don't get knocked down unless the center goes right over the island. And I don't think the center is going right over Hispaniola. So the culprit here is probably some wind shear coming down. And then as we get out into Monday night, Tuesday afternoon, 3 o'clock, you see what the GFS has. And it brings you right up the coast. So again, that's 7 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. It's a long way out for us to be saying this is what's going to happen. Here's the shear, and I want to stop it right in here. Here's the GFS low pressure. That's where it is, right? This is actually associated with the storm, but you see some of this wind in here. That's what's going to try and knock it down. I don't see a lot of it knocking down. So let's back up. Nothing there. But you see this right here from the Bahamas down towards San Juan and then curving back up. That's some wind shear that I think would stick around more on the European model to help it get a little bit smaller. All right, be weaker system, get sheared apart. But notice there's nothing here. There's nothing in the Cuba area, the Gulf of Mexico. There's no wind shear there to help knock it down. So that's why the GFS is going a little bit stronger with it. Compared to the models, we just did that. Let me show you some water temperature stuff. The water temperature is certainly warm enough where it's at. It's getting into a warmer area, but this area right in here, that's got really warm water in it. So look, it's interacting with some shear with the islands a little bit, but this has to be watched. Look at the water off of our coast. It's actually been a little bit cooler. 80 degrees is all we need. It's well above that. It's in the mid to upper 80s, but we actually have some cooler than normal water sitting out there. So that would argue that if something got into the Eastern Gulf, we may not see a rapid intensification type of thing going on there, because it would actually, in perspective, it would be going from warmer water here to actually cooler water here. Still warm enough to make storms. It's not that time of year where we could write these things off because the water's cool. So that's where we're at with that. Ironically, well, I don't know if you say ironically, but the next name on the list now is Elsa. Natalie says, what do you think? This could be more of an issue because of the name Elsa, because we've been making jokes about it?
She's so frustrated. She's so angry.
Oof. Oh, man, you know, hell hath no fury. So, yeah, Elsa is the next name on the list. We'll see, guys. We're within that window of about 7 days where we'll talk about this and show you a little bit more on TV. In fact, now we'll be covering it all the time. But, you know, this is not the time to panic or even freak out about this. Hopefully, if this does form, we'll get a track here later this afternoon. Timing will I think, very similar to what I just showed you, according to the forecast models. So really, if you're watching from Florida, the time frame is Monday and Tuesday. But that's Sunday's July 4th. Monday's July 5th, which is a holiday. So basically, you know, people aren't really paying attention. And then people have a lot of plans for 4th of July weekend that we don't want a tropical system messing up, right? So we'll keep a close eye on it for you. Of course, we'll let you know if anything does develop. Many of you are watching on my Facebook page. If you're not, you're watching on the 10 Tampa Bay page or even my YouTube page. You can follow me on my Facebook at Bobby Deskins Weather. And that's also my YouTube page there as well, too. So I'll do a lot of streaming, radar streaming, that kind of thing to that. So you might want to go over there and follow my YouTube page. But Natalie Ferrari is here. She's actually heading out to the hockey game.
Hello.
And it looks like all the rain's coming through right now, so that's actually really good news. We're getting most of the rain through the area. So if you are headed out there, sorry about that, things should be looking a little bit better for you as far as sitting out there in Thunder Alley and watching it. So that's where we're at, guys. 70 to 90% chance for this thing developing. And there it goes. Let me show you this. I'm going to go through some questions just real fast here. Jason, no problem, buddy. He said, thanks for all the updates. Hope you're doing well, man. Raining in Seminole. Yeah, you know what? While I got you guys here, we can do that. Let's talk a little bit of local radar. A little bit earlier today with the storms, which is fine. Get them in, get them out, right? Look at that. So very active radar right now. And the heaviest are now actually coming to the bay and pushing over towards Pinellas County. So just light rain left over now, it looks like, for Amalie Arena, which is going to be good news there. But severe weather threats low today, just like it was yesterday when we had a tornado warning. We had a bunch of boundaries, sea breeze boundaries, and then the storms collided with that. Today we had a little bit more cloud cover. We didn't have quite the sea breeze line push in, so I think most of these storms should behave, and I'm not seeing any kind of worries now. Marine warnings have been issued because we've got winds about 35 knots crossing the bay. The one I would watch is this one right here, coming off of Palmetto area. Not seeing any rotation in that, but you see this area right in here? That's some high winds right there. The radar's estimating 45 mile per hour winds almost. So that's why you got the warning for that. That's actually some really good winds that'll come in for St. Pete. So St. Pete, keeping your eye on that. Let's go up further north. I see somebody from Spring Hill. It says, pool is full. Yes, absolutely, Maureen. I agree with you. But the heaviest rain has come through now, so you can see Spring Hill there. And this light to moderate rain, however, could stick around for a good hour in some locations. And there's more coming upstream. This will slowly thin out, but there's more where that came from, too. Still keep an eye on this. Monday is the day to really start paying attention to Elsa. Daniel, yeah, I would say Saturday. Saturday, as far as tropics go, I mean, Saturday you need to be aware of what's going on, because by Saturday this thing is potentially, let me go back here. You know, you're going to know. Saturday at 5 o'clock, there it is. So that's not very far from us. That's going to actually have, you know, if it were to follow these models, we would be in the cone, right? And remember, the cone means that the center of the storm could go anywhere in that cone. But there's going to be changes in this forecast between now and then, so don't get too worried about what you're seeing out there right now. No problem, Nicole. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, hope, you know, we're always saying get the hurricane kits ready, right? We've been saying that since May. But definitely want to make sure your hurricane kit's ready just in case. Jamaica's going to get hammered. Maybe, Daniel, maybe. It depends on what it looks like. It's a kind of a weakening system at that point. So we'll see. We just had Tropical Storm Danny go in South Carolina, and that was minimal. 45 mile per hour winds. This looks to be a little bit stronger than that. There you go. Here we go. They're coming. They're coming, Natalie. Tom says, I guess if Elsa comes, we will have to let it go.
Stop.
Good job, Tom.
Also, I appreciate you. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we're not talking about that.
Yeah. Natalie will actually be in tonight at 11 o'clock, so she's going to have the very latest. If we don't get anything issued by 5 o'clock, they might issue it tonight. I showed the Go 16 high-res visible. That's the best satellite data we have, and we're losing that because the sun's going down. So if they're going to pop it, they would pop it now. I think. I don't. Maybe later tonight if they get a really good burst of convection near the center. But Recon's not in it. I don't think Recon's probably not scheduled to go out till maybe late tomorrow.
It's like tomorrow at the earliest, maybe.
I haven't looked at it. Have you looked at anything?
Not since snow.
The plan. I haven't looked at that either. But bottom line is, if there's a track, she'll have the very latest for you tonight at 11 o'clock. And again, look, these things are going to change. Our website, 10tampabay.com, 10tampabay.com/tropics. You can find all these on there, right? And they update automatically. Whenever we get the data in, it updates automatically. You can find satellites on there as well, too, plus the trackers. If we do get a cone for this.
Like this very graphic right here, you can find that right there.
That'll be out there.
All right, I'm heading to Emily. See you guys.
Have fun.
At 5.
We'll see you. Okay, guys, that's it. I'll let you go for now. Again, just keep an eye on this and tune back in. We'll be doing this. I'll be doing this every day this week. Just kind of keep you updated and show you the changes, right? Because there'll be some changes in this forecast along the way. All right, guys, have a great Wednesday afternoon. We'll get this rain out of here. We'll cool off and be a nice evening. And I can't get off of here without saying go Bolts. Let's do this.